What's up, man? This is your boy, Damisito, aka the Latino Nelly, and welcome to another episode of Peer Pressure. This is episode 32, and for this episode, we got our good friend Kamal on the show. Kamal is the CEO and founder of the company called CollegePrints, and we kind of pick his brain a little bit about the company, some of the things that motivate him, and just an overall good conversation. We really enjoy doing this one. As always, if you like this, if you support us, if you're rocking with us, please like, comment, subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to. You know what I'm saying? It really help us out. Also, the Peer Pressure Book Club is up and in effect. If you don't know, we're reading the book Sapiens by Yuval Noah Harari. So get that book right now. Stay tuned, man. It's a good one.
Peer pressure. Peer pressure.
And yo,
What the fuck was that?
who was that?
I think that was my computer, my bad. All right, it's chill.
We're live. Welcome back to another episode of Peer Pressure. It's your host Brando in the building. I got my boy with me, Damisito, aka the Latino Nelly in the building. And we got a very special guest in the building with us today. We're actually in his building.
We're in his building. You're right. Damn, I'm surprised you caught that.
You know what I mean. We got the founder and CEO of CollegePrints. Everybody welcome Kamal in the building.
What's up, guys?
Yo, what's his last name?
Genuinely, I don't know.
Andrawis.
Andrawis.
Well, I've never
What's-
actually heard it like that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that's how you actually say it.
Can I have the origin of your
It's Jordanian, Middle Eastern.
Jordanian?
shout out my Middle Eastern. Shout out my Jordanians
Shout
out
out to
there.
Michael
You feel
Jordan
me?
one time. The GOAT, number 23. But basically what we did want to get into is Kamal is actually the founder of, like I said before, CollegePrints. So if you could
My
just
bad, I hit the wrong one. I hit the wrong
give us a
one.
quick outline if you would like to like just describe what CollegePrints is and what your services are and your business.
Of course, yeah. So CollegePrints is a custom apparel and design company. We started off, just doing custom apparel for college organizations.
Yeah.
Across the country. We are now
Nationwide, son.
Nationwide, worldwide, you know what I mean? Worldwide in a couple years, you know what it is.
We go international soon, but so now we're going into a bunch of promotional items. We recently started doing everything from cups to pens to somebody asked for hard hats the other day. So,
Hey.
No way.
yeah, so construction company. It's just it's growing to different ends, different industries. So, but yeah, originally was started for college organizations.
Really?
So yeah.
So if you could just give us a backstory, like the history, when it was founded, how long you've been doing it, and just go into that real quick.
Of course, yeah. So the concept came about September of 2015 with one of Dom and I's fraternity brothers, Gal.
Woo! Dropping it early, son.
Of course. I was in my last year of Cal Poly Pomona. Shout out to Broncos.
Damn, okay, we need
Too many
to
bumps,
that's
too many
what we
bumps.
got. Yo, we're going too
I'm
wild.
sorry for the
We're too
bombs.
It's all
hyped.
good. It's
Too
all
many
good.
bumps.
But so we started it out last year, and we saw the need for it, and then ended up growing it and officially starting it in April of 2016. So
Got you.
So it's been around for about
somewhat young, but thriving.
definitely. Yes,
Young but
definitely.
thriving.
Yeah, so about a year and a half now.
So is this? It's a year and a half, and we're almost at like 2 years.
It'll be 2 years soon. Yeah.
So was this something that? When did the idea start forming? Like, was this like something you had to like? This is something like I want to do like off the top, or like did it take a while for it to develop? Or
So, real talk, it started at a coffee bean.
Hey,
bro, hey,
they're not paying us.
yeah.
They're not paying us. I don't know if we can say that. You know?
You can say that on this show. Next time you go somewhere else, bro, you gotta change the
can't.
story.
You can't.
Yo, so it started out Ruth Chris Steakhouse over a bottle of a
Yep.
$300 wine, and
No, so we were talking about. I used to be the shirt guy for our fraternity. Everybody used to hit me up for custom shirts. We needed to make them for Rush Week and all that stuff. And
Big market, like for
it's a huge market.
everyone needs
yeah.
shirts. Everyone needs club shirts. Everything, all that.
Exactly. Yes. Sororities, fraternities, not even just the Greeks, all the organizations on campus.
Right.
Everybody always has an event one weekend, one day, and they need custom apparel.
some shirts, bro.
So I got hit up. Me and Gal were sitting at Coffee Bean, and we said, hey, look.
You go there often?
To be honest, I'm a Starbucks guy, but for some reason that day we
bro,
were.
shout out my baristas,
Yes.
dog. Hey, let's go.
But for some reason that day we were at a Coffee Bean, and we just saw that that there was a market for, hey, what if we just make it easier for the college student to order custom apparel? And we said, let's start with getting a graphic designer on the team and essentially just branding ourselves as a company that makes custom college apparel.
So did it start from like a place of necessity? Like you saw like you needed shirts, but no one was there to do exactly what you wanted, or like
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah, no, definitely. So the biggest thing with screen printers and embroiderers, and anybody can back me up on this, is they are always late.
Right.
Like they suck with due dates. They never know how to make sure that their shirts are for an event that's gonna happen on this day. If you don't have them for that day, the shirts are absolutely pointless.
They're useful. Yeah,
exactly.
It has the name of the event and the date. Like, what's the point?
So,
if I get them on the 9th when I need them for the 8th,
Yep.
my guy.
So that's a huge thing that I think we definitely we started off of, we branched off of, and we said, okay, we need to make sure we meet the due date. We need to make sure we advertise to the millennial college student.
Right.
Shoot them a text when their design's ready. Shoot them a text when their order's ready for pickup.
Yeah.
Just make it super intricate. Have the graphic designer interact directly with the client. Those are things that the average screen printer embroiderer right now does not do.
That's what I was wondering, because a lot of people, when they want to make like clubs on campus, when they want to make shirts, they usually have to have their own
They have to have their own design
person,
exactly.
right?
Yep.
So like someone within the club has to have some background experience, but you're bringing it and like funneling it down to one thing, right?
It's like almost like a full service thing.
Hey, one-stop shop.
One-stop shop, baby.
Yo, so when you were at that Coffee Bean, were you like originally
picture.
trying to? What did you order?
A cold brew.
Bro,
No,
that's-
nitro cold
Hey,
brew.
cold brew forever.
Yes.
Cold brew forever.
Hey, but were you there like originally wanting to like form a business? Was that like, did you want to like, I want to have a business, or was it just like an opportunity that presented itself? Yo, maybe we should make this a business.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So I never thought I would have a business this early in my essentially my career
Yeah.
lifestyle.
How old are you, if you could just outline
I'm
that?
24.
24.
Yeah.
Young.
So,
Young and thriving.
This fool's
Yeah.
21.
I'm 23, my guy.
Now, I definitely never thought I would have one this early in my career, but I saw myself in September of 2015 graduating with an industrial engineering degree, going to work for an engineering company, and essentially just moving up the chain that way. But I saw an opportunity. We saw an opportunity, Gall and I, and we took it. And essentially, in my head, I was like, "This will never work. This is
Really?
is
Did you think
stupid."
that even off the bat? Like
off the bat, I was
Wow.
like, "This is gonna work for like 2 months, and that's about it." But
I think
it
that's
was-
kind of healthy, though, if I could just interject,
course.
because like that kind of like mentality keeps you going. Like, I never thought I'd see 2 weeks. I never thought I'd see a month. You know, I never
Exactly.
saw. Yeah. So
Yep.
that's kind of healthy in a way, I would say.
Yeah, and it actually definitely fell off for a little bit. Like come around February timeframe, we were stagnant. We had no orders. Nothing was going
February-
on.
February-
February of 2016.
And when did it originate? Sorry.
The concept started around September.
So like 3 or 4
2015.
months later, it was already
Exactly.
starting to fall off.
Yep, and we kind of just let it go. Gall was taken off. He had to go back to Israel and do his time there. So we kind of just let it go.
Yeah.
And from there on, we just said, okay, we're just going to let it go its separate ways. And then come Greek Week for Cal Poly,
Boom.
it blew up.
Blew up.
Everybody needed shirts. Everybody needed hats. Everybody needed custom apparel. So they started hitting us up, and it really did branch off from Cal Poly. I mean, that's my alumni.
I think that's the hardest phase to get past, because like there's like that it's like a relationship in my eyes. Like
Yeah.
you have that honeymoon phase. Like you,
Yeah.
I love you, baby, you're the best. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, then it like things start like kind of getting real, and then or it gets like old. You know what I mean?
How are we gonna
Then,
make it through the holidays, son?
Then it starts
How are we
getting
gonna make it through Christmas?
It starts getting like hard, and then like I think once you hit that hump, and like you guys made it over that hump, and now it's like. Now it's a little bit easier. Everyone
Now
who's
the
on
wheels are
board, like,
going.
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I definitely agree. It's something where you kind of just got to stick with it, watch it grow, it's growing pains. It's really
Yeah.
growing pains. And then from there on, you start bringing on a bigger team, people that you think are better than yourself, and you continue to grow it. So
Do you ever, so like you said, building the team, do you ever feel like, I know sometimes it's tough for people to work with people that are like better at some things than them or have different knowledge bases. Was that ever hard for you, like accepting that, oh, this person knows how to do this maybe better than me, like I'm gonna bring him on because I know that? Or was it tough for you to like get over that ever?
No, I definitely encourage others to. The biggest thing I stress in our team is, hey, you can learn something from somebody else in the room.
For sure.
We're sitting in the room where we have our monthly meetings, our weekly meetings, and the amount of knowledge that is passed on from college student to college student in this room, or recent graduate from recent graduate, that's something I didn't mention. Everybody on our team is a recent graduate or still in school. So very young team. Everybody's still trying to figure out who they are, trying to figure out what they want to do.
Right.
But the knowledge passing is huge. I think that's something that sometimes I'll let somebody struggle a little bit. Everybody will come and, hey, Kamal, what's the answer to this? No, just go ahead and figure it out. Hit up the right person. You'll get it.
Right.
Go to the right designer. Go to the right ambassador. Go to the right person that's on our team because they have the knowledge. They'll be able to help you.
Right.
And I as a I'm colorblind. I'm pretty sure
Hey,
Dom's
bro.
colorblind.
Hey, shout out all my colorblind people out there, man.
I'm in the minority.
Are you red, green, blue, yellow?
Red, green.
Hey, shout out my red, greens, bro.
It's super tough to own a custom apparel company and be colorblind. Let me tell you, you've got to be able to. Yeah.
I could only imagine. Hey, what color is this?
Yeah,
all right,
exactly.
cool. That's what I thought too.
Right.
The amount of times I've had to ask my team, hey, what color is this? What does this match with this? Hey, is this good? That's why I trust my graphic designers with all. I mean, they know what they're doing. They went to school for it. They have a true passion for designing custom gear, custom apparel, custom hats, whatever it may be. So they are huge. They are a huge asset to my team. I would not have CollegePrints without them.
One of the things I caught you said earlier, and I don't know if you said this on purpose or if it just came off that way, but you said I didn't plan on having a business this early in my life.
Of course.
So just by that, you planned on having one eventually.
Definitely.
Was that always your mindset from the beginning?
Good observation, my guy.
That was a good observation.
Hey, psychology major, bro. This is what I went to school for.
So as an engineering major, you like I was saying, you kind of are pushed into the path of getting a good job with a good engineering company and just moving up the management chain. I had that, but I also had that as very short term. I said, okay, I'm going to go work for an engineering company for 5-10 years, get the experience.
If you don't mind me, what is that about that that turns you? Does it turn you off in a way, or
Straight up, I hate working for people.
Right. I feel that.
That's me being 100% honest.
I feel that.
I love learning from people, but I have that desire to just be able to create my own path, own my own success, and then be able to branch that off to others.
For sure.
I love, and it's not about the money. By far, it's not about the money. It's just being able to see success happen in front of you.
Yeah.
To help add to that is the best feeling ever. That's the biggest thing for me.
Yeah.
But to go back to your question, my culture, we mentioned in the beginning, Middle Eastern culture. We're huge about business. I think from a lot of my family members that came from Jordan back over to here, they don't have a degree to go start working for an engineering company or for a doctor, whatever they may be. Yeah. So they have to start their own business. I mean, mechanic shop, whether it's a liquor store, smoke shop. I mean, the stereotypical Arab 7-Eleven.
Wow, I didn't know that was so that was something that played
It played a part, definitely. Yeah. So my dad's always owned his own business. He's been the type of guy where he's one of my biggest role models, and I look up to how much he works. He doesn't go to work, clock in, clock out.
Right.
He works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And he loves to do it. It's not like he doesn't love to do it. Same thing with my mom. She does work for a company, but you can tell their passion for work is just more than just the average clock in 9 to 5.
Yeah. I do like that in a way, you're kind of following the footsteps, owning your own business, and really the immigrant experience is a really big thing, especially when people come over and they don't have the skill set, so they have to start their own thing. Definitely. And that's tough. And when you're the boss, or the CEO or the founder, I saw this video once, and this guy had a food store. He's like, you think when you're the boss, you don't have to work at all, but really you have to know a little bit of everything. You have to do a little bit of everything.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. If they always say the best bosses are the people that have knowledge of every single position under them.
For sure.
If you're trying to manage somebody that you have no idea what their job title is, their job description is, that person will either walk all over you or they won't be a good employee. They won't learn from your successes. So you definitely have to have the knowledge of every. And if you don't know, don't be afraid to ask. I mean, I've asked my graphic designers, hey, how do you do this? Mm-hmm. Hey, Elisa, whoever it may be that's on my team, how do you do this? So,
man, shout out to the team one time.
I know.
Shout out to the team one time.
Let's get a team shout out.
Get a team shout out.
Were your parents the first like generation Americans, or was that you? Were you the first of your family to be born here, or were they like a couple generations here, or how was that?
Yeah, of course. So my dad came over here when he married my mom. My mom was born in New York, and then her parents were born back in Jordan.
Got it.
So technically second generation.
That's where it gets kind of blurry. Yeah, because
yeah,
it's like I don't know how that works. Yeah.
But I was born in the States. I've actually never been back to the Middle East, so that's something I'm doing in 2018 for sure.
Hey,
So
2018
New
goals,
year, new origins.
exactly, yeah. So it's something that I've heard stories about being back in the Middle East, and that's something I need to do this year. Now that I've got a little bit of a path set up, so I'm excited to go over there and see all the family.
Was this mindset, like, how early was this mindset of, like, you said that your dad, like, he was a big role model on you. You have a history of owning businesses. That's like kind of the culture you came from. So like when you went into college, was this already something that you wanted to do, or was like, because you went in as an engineer.
Correct.
So you like there was at least. By the way, you're still working as an engineer right now.
Correct. Yeah.
That's a double. The grind never stops.
don't stop, son.
The grind.
The grind
Just
don't
side
stop.
note. Whenever I see Gary Vee post something, bro, this fool's name. You know how you can see the Instagram likes? This fool likes every. I don't know how he does it, bro. He likes every picture.
Yes.
Nah, but so was this something like when you went into college, you already knew you wanted to do, or is it something that developed in college?
So engineering, I think I've always had a passion for like designing, essentially designing a manufacturing process. I studied industrial engineering, and for the people that don't know that, it's
Knowledge.
manufacturing.
I don't know that.
Yeah, no, me neither. That's why.
You're talking to us,
No,
right?
yeah. It's so you can apply the major to pretty much any industry, but the biggest applied is manufacturing. So building, whether it's a plane or whether it's a T-shirt, whatever it may be, you can apply an industrial engineer inside any of the manufacturing industries. So going into that, I said, yeah, this is something that I think is going to gain me that experience. But I just like I said it earlier, I never thought it would be this earlier. I really kind of was just going to go with the flow until I got 5-10 years into it. And then, hey, something that popped up, something I may want to do, this is what I'm going to start the business on. But little did I know it came in before I even graduated. So,
You know what's interesting to me too is a lot of people go in with like this is my passion. Like we had an episode earlier. You know, I'm plugging our own episodes in our episode. You know what I mean? We had an episode earlier like people who have passions, they want to pursue their passions. But like your passion it's interesting because like what you just said, like your passion was owning a business, but you didn't know what type of business.
Exactly.
Because I feel like a lot of people that I talk to is the other way. I want to do this, but I don't know how I'm going to make a business out of it.
Exactly.
So you kind of came from like reverse engineered it, and you're like, I want to own a business. I just don't know what kind of business I want to own.
Exactly. Yeah, that's you hit it on the spot. So that's literally what it was. I had no idea what business it was going to be. I always thought it could have been something within engineering. And realistically, I mean, it is, right? We're making custom T-shirts, we're making custom hats. So I am in a manufacturing industry, but it's just a little bit different than what we studied in school. So.
So hitting on the school or the college in CollegePrints.
Yes.
What lessons did you take from school, or like I know some people do say that, like, you know, especially nowadays, like college is a gimmick. Like people don't need to go to. You can start your own business if you wanted to. But like, how have you leveraged your experience there in college, or how has it not helped you? You know what I mean? Of course.
Yeah, so I actually really like this question. I've heard this question a few other times, and I think.
Well, sorry, I just want to interrupt. He has a TED Talk on this. You know what I mean?
Oh, can we just shout out TEDx one time?
He got a TED Talk on this. So
look it up.
I'll put the link in the description. You know what I'm talking?
Link in bio.
Exactly. Yes. Go watch the TED Talk. Feeding off of that, the college experience, I was actually we mentioned in a fraternity. I was in a leadership position in the fraternity, president and vice president in a couple years.
Talk to him.
I was like, I wonder if he's gonna be modest and not drop it. He was like, I was in a leadership position. I was like, oh, that's all. I was like, vice president and president.
VP and P.
You know,
my
sometimes
guy.
you gotta flex up one time. You know what I'm saying?
But no, it was an amazing experience. Is college a gimmick? I don't think it is. I think it teaches you the commitment to something, right? So whether you take what you learn out of the class, out of the course, whatever it may be. The commitment of studying for that midterm, the commitment of doing the homework, the commitment of taking the final, sticking with it for that amount of time, and making sure you get the grade you want to get. That experience in itself, I think you can apply to every life lifestyle.
So like not necessarily like specific things you do, but like thematically, like, oh, I'm committed to this. I have to get a good grade, and you have to follow through.
Yep. I
Right.
think that's something that you can apply to starting your own business. You can apply it to working in your career. You could be an engineer for the rest of your life, and you can still apply that same thing. Anybody will tell you, especially in engineering, it's very rare that you use what you learn in school in engineering. You probably use 20 to 30% of what you learn in school.
Heard that multiple times.
Yeah, so it's huge to take the experience of just being in school, studying, gaining the network from college. That's another huge
For sure.
thing. Being in a fraternity, you're able to meet people from across the country, essentially, and just creating that network of people. I mean, I've got people on my phone, literally in the notes says, this guy has connections with this.
No
specific-
way.
Yeah.
He has a web.
Oh god.
Yeah, a web diagram. But you know how there's notes in people's contacts?
yeah.
Literally, I have a note of like, hey, this guy's got connections on hats, or this guy's got whatever.
Yeah,
it may
he's got
be.
the whole
Yeah,
shit
it's
laid
Everyone's
out.
plugged up.
Who do you
right?
need, bro?
He's got
What do you
the
need?
Nikes, bro. This is the fool to go get the Nikes. You know,
That's tight.
I think that's huge. I've always talked about creating an app. I mean, I'm not an app developer for any means, but I've always talked about creating an app for like connections, right? Networking. Hey, I need something for this specific. I don't know. I need to go buy this shoe.
Right.
Who knows a person that could hook me up with that specific shoe? You know, that's something I think. Whether you take that from college, that's one of the biggest things is your network.
Nobody steal that.
I know.
Nobody steal that.
Nobody's doing that.
Yo.
Yeah, that would be dope.
So I know like your TED Talk was more or less about being in a fraternity.
Yep.
And fraternities catch a bad rap, especially like nowadays. Especially like I feel like in the recent years, like it's just been getting worse and worse, and the image of like what a fraternity is has been getting worse. And you're like an advocate, and I've seen you since we were in the same fraternity, and I saw you like go up through the ranks. And personally, like I saw how much it benefited you. Like how much of your success do you attribute to like not like the fraternity, well actually the fraternity, and mostly the skills you learned going through that? You know what I mean? Like was that a big part of like so where you are now?
Yeah. So going back on the bad rap, the biggest thing I think with what Greek life has right now is the media needs to grasp anything they can to put it on the news, right? There are bad fraternities, there are good fraternities, there are bad sororities, there are good sororities. The biggest thing I think when it comes to Greek life is being able to pull the good out of it, and I've been an advocate for this for as long as I've known Greek life. You have to be in it for the right reason, right? If you're not in Greek life for the right reason, then yeah, of course you're gonna have those people that are bad people. But you also have the bad non-Greeks that are also doing the same exact thing. They just don't have the highlight on them because
They don't have a name
Right,
attached to it.
So I think being able to go through that experience, I mean, especially our fraternity in general, the years that we were in chapter had bad raps on it almost every year.
It was a roller coaster. We went from one of the worst ones to one of the best ones under.
Yeah.
Come on. He won't mention this, so I gotta flex up.
Our fearless leader, Kamal, let us to the promised land.
Yeah, but it's crazy because it is really, like Dom hit it on the spot. It's a roller coaster. It's literally one day you could be the highlight, and the next day you could be the worst chapter on campus. You know, so it definitely teaches you in that aspect to be able to just always know that somebody's watching and essentially be the best you can be.
Right, and roll with the punches whenever it comes your way. You know.
Yep.
So something I do want to touch back on a little bit is that you said since you started it was like just shirts for clubs and stuff like that, but you've expanded to hard hats and other things and like pens and accessories. Have you found just from my aspect of like a branding perspective, like the name CollegePrints, do you see that as a plain devil's advocate? It kind of. Do you think that would limit you in any way, or have you found that limiting at all, just with the name itself? Like someone says, "I want to get shirts," but they only do like college stuff. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, that has been going through my head for the last 6 months.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
So it's been something I've been tossing around. We're pretty well known as CP. Our logo CP.
By the way, I'm a fan of the logo.
Yes.
Was it one of your designers who did the logo?
It was one of our first designers. Shout out to Kat. She
Hey,
hit that.
Kat, getting a
hard.
shout out one time.
You know what it is.
She came up with the CP logo, and we have had the thoughts of being able to just switch it over to CP, but we really do like the original CollegePrints.
Right.
We've been able to swing it as we are essentially a college team, right? A young college
Right,
team. creating your custom promotional items, whether it's
I
a
see.
color, whatever.
So instead
it
of
may be.
describing the market, you're describing your team itself.
Exactly,
Oh,
yeah.
just like that's kind of cool.
Which
Like
almost
changing
is
the narrative.
cooler.
Yep.
I like that. No, that's really cool.
I've seen that with a lot of businesses, not only like businesses, but even like ideas. When you start something, you don't know what the hell is going to be. You know what I mean? Like you start it and you have this idea, but after 2 years, what it turns into is its own thing. You know what I mean? But I like that you're like what Brandon said, you're switching that narrative to like, because you are very college based. A lot of the people who work for you and work with you are college students, right?
Exactly, yeah.
That's a core thing, part of your like what you guys want to do.
My my goal for the team, my vision for the team is to grow early on in their career, and I don't see any of these team members staying here for the rest of their career. I want them to stay in this moment, do an internship with us, do a part-time job with us, and grow on into the industry that they want to go from. So that's huge for me. I mean, our designers will get jobs with huge, I don't know if y'all know 5'4", but one of our first designers, Jan, he got a huge
Shout out to
gig.
Jan one
Hey,
time.
shout out to, bro, look, we plugging
I know,
everyone.
we plugging
bro.
everyone.
Everyone
Everyone's
getting a
getting
shout
shouted
out.
out.
Hit up Jan for your hot designs, my guy.
5'4" is a huge men's apparel company, and he got plugged with one of those gigs. So hopefully CollegePrints added to that path for him. But that's my vision, is for everybody on our team to, whether they stick with CollegePrints or they go on and do their own endeavors, that's my goal for them. So.
I like that too, because I know you are. I mean, college did like wonders for you. If I like, from what I'm getting from you, and I had like jobs in college where, you know, a lot of people when they get into college, that's the first job they're gonna have. Like whatever job they have in college is their first
Exactly,
one.
yep.
And I think it's really important for jobs to be looking for college students to know that they're not going to be the best, but to teach them those skills and use that as a launching pad
Exactly.
to go somewhere else. So it's not only like you have this business, but you're doing well by the people you hire, which is like you're giving them these skills they're going to need to go on later and wanting them to go on later, which I think is really cool.
Definitely.
I commend you for that. So.
It's a
appreciate
good training ground in a way to like build their skills and like get their work out there and build a portfolio if they need one.
Of course, yeah. I mean, it's definitely still a job, and they all know that. But yeah, they know that they can mess up. They know that they can come to us for advice and definitely be able to improve and grow from it. So
One of the things you touched on earlier that I think is like knowing you, Kamal the person, and knowing like you know, like
Kamal the human.
Kamal the human being. You talked about networking a little bit. Now, like, how much has networking played in your life, and like, was that something you were always good at, and like a skill you just like refined, or was it something you had to get better at? Like, how was like being social and working on your networking skills? Like, was that natural, or how was that like?
yeah, no, I definitely think that I've always been able to walk up to somebody and talk to them. Whether I was able to start a conversation immediately, that was probably something that I definitely gained over the experience of being in the fraternity, being in those leadership positions. You do have to have confidence. If you don't have confidence, I think it's very difficult to be able to create that network. You have to, whether you go up and you stutter over and over and over again talking to somebody, that stuttering will slowly go away as the more people you go up to and talk to. So that's something that I believe networking does allow you to grow, whether it's in your career or whether it's just even in your natural social life. I mean, networking and just being able to go out with your friends and hang out, I think is also something that people kind of avoid. They say, oh, networking is only for making more money, getting a bigger job, moving up in the path. But realistically, it's also to have an enjoyable life, go out with your friends, go out to the right places. So, but yeah, it's something that I think grew in my college career. But I also have continued to strengthen. I'm definitely not the best networker. No one's ever an amazing networker. You continue to grow that as you move on.
Right. So would you say that networking would you consider that one of your like strengths, like one of your biggest strengths, you think?
I would say so, yeah.
And going off of that, like what would you say within you, like Kamal the human?
We talk about the human being.
We talk about the
here.
human being, like in life or in business. Like what would you say is like something that you do need to improve on, or something that people should focus on more, you know, when trying to interact with or start a business, something like that?
Of course. So something I've been working on the last few months, especially just because it's been getting really crazy. I just started my master's. My
Damn,
MBA.
son.
Yeah,
Chill
so
out, bro.
I've been,
Big things, big things
only.
big things, my guy.
it's literally just crazy going back to school after a year and a half and just being able to actually have to read again and do homework. So
What are these words in front of me?
Sounds like a nightmare, bro.
It's insane. So it's crazy once you get. They always say like once you get out of it, it's hard to get back in. It's 100% true. So go back as soon as you can if you want to get more school. But back to the original question, I think Remind me of the original question.
What's something that you are currently working on, like in yourself, you see as one of your
correct,
weaknesses, or anything else that you see other people struggling in that like could be improved, like.
So as a business owner, as a full-time employee, as an MBA student, take a break.
I thought you said NBA. I was like,
Better make it to the league.
we go to the league, dog. I was like, wow.
M is in Mary.
Shout out to Lakers.
I know. Hey, shout out to Clippers.
Lonzo Ball, the pride of Chino Hills, bro.
Bro, I see Kamal at all these Laker games. He's sitting like he's not courtside, but he's very close. He's very close.
That's what the NBA gets you, my guy. Get you close.
The NBA gets you to the NBA.
Nah, but yeah, all those things I think people do forget. You get so caught up in waking up and just starting work as soon as you wake up. You do need to take a break, and that's something that is a huge weakness of mine because even on my Sundays, on my Saturdays, I feel like my phone is always buzzing.
Do not disturb, my guy.
Do not if you peep Kamal's Instagram story, this is Sunday, CollegePrints.
Yes.
Monday, CollegePrints. It's like, bro, go outside a little bit.
Yes.
Come on. Go for a walk. Watch a
People
movie.
tell me I need to get a tan, bro.
These lights aren't cutting it, bro.
These fluorescent lines can't give me the color I want.
True. Yeah. So that's huge. I think people definitely need to take a break. The other big thing I think is just being able to step back, see the bigger picture. I think sometimes I'm so caught up in making sure things are done right. Even with my team, I need to make sure I step back and just view it as a whole and say, hey, these people are learning on doing this thing. I need to let them take control of it, not always do it myself. In the beginning, it was so hard for me. I wanted to do everything myself, make sure it was all done right. But as a leader, that the biggest characteristic of a good leader is just to make sure your team is on the right path, able to do what they're supposed to do, and just continue to, if they steer off that path, just make sure you steer them back onto the
anti-micromanaging.
Exactly.
I'm an anti-micromanager.
Do you feel like leadership like came naturally to you, or is it something you had to grow into? Like, was there a big learning curve in like becoming a leader to your team?
Leadership definitely grew into me. I actually just read an article on the difference between a leader and a manager. And
Knowledge.
Yes.
Damn, I'm about to drop this shit. I'm ready.
So the biggest thing the article stressed was how a leader essentially just like I just mentioned, keeps you on the right path, doesn't micromanage you, allows you to grow as a person, not only in that specific task they want you to do, just in general. And a manager is, hey, I need to get this done. This is my due date. Make sure you get it done. And if you're not doing it right, the manager is going to make sure that somebody else does it right? So whether it's the specific individual completing that task or just somebody else completing that task, they need that task to get done. Yeah. So that's the biggest thing. So I think somebody that has the balance between a leader and a manager, that's the ultimate boss.
It's like a good coach that wants to develop you as a player,
as a human. He cares about me on a personal level.
Yeah, on a personal level. Exactly.
Yeah. They I read the article for one of my courses, and the professor showed a video of a football player, and he said, hey, you got to put somebody on your back and crawl 50 yards, essentially from the end zone all the way to the 50-yard line. He said that's impossible with somebody on my back to crawl that far without just on hands and feet. And he said, I'm going to put the blindfold on you. And he put the blindfold on you, and the coach literally coached him all the way down. And
wow,
that's intense.
He kept going, and he thought when he took the blindfold off that he was going to be at the 50-yard line. He ended up going from end zone to end zone. So
that's nuts.
It's just
what a parable, my guy.
Exactly. Yeah. So that kind of puts it into perspective. Like a good leader, a good coach. You said that a good coach, I think, is a good, essentially a good balance between a leader and a manager. So
we were talking about strengths a little while ago, and like some of your strengths and like some of your weaknesses. One thing, like from knowing you for a while now, one of the things that I think you're really good at is no matter like, okay, if you need to get something done, like when you were like the president and all that, like we knew that you were gonna get it done.
Dom's told me about this. Yeah. It made me hype. I was like, damn, this dude sounds like a tight ass dude.
I don't even know what the word would be to describe that. I don't know if you want to call it like a go-getter but like it would be like no matter what it would take or like what route you had to go to, you were gonna get it done, and you're gonna get it done your way. You know what I mean? And so is that something that you had, like, because yes, obviously you have that now, but is that something like, I think for people listening, they would want to know, like, if they're trying to be more like that.
Of course.
Is it something you had or developed, or like, how did that come about? You know what I mean? Because you talk about confidence, you have a lot of confidence. Was that something you worked on? Was it always born in you? You know what I mean? Or like, how did that all come about?
You definitely have to. No, I did not have the confidence that I have today. Back when I was before all the fraternity stuff and all that. But I think somebody that wants to go in that path, I think they definitely need to focus on how to grow as a person, not only as just hitting the do this, get it done, but essentially more of the overall of, yes, this is my end goal. What am I going to, and just like you said it, how am I going to get from where I'm at today to get to that end goal? And the end goal could not be your end goal for yourself. It could be for the chapter, whether it was a fraternity. How are we going to get us from this spot to that spot? And I think just the drive of, and I kind of said this in the beginning, the visual of seeing it done at the end, and just the essentially just accepting that, hey, I was able to help and lead these people in getting to that end goal is definitely something that continued to drive me and help me grow in that aspect. I don't know if that makes 100% sense.
It kind of comes from like a place of like selflessness.
Exactly.
Like doing it because this needs to be done and for everyone else's benefit, right?
Yes, yeah, definitely. I always told people I don't really care for me to be up and to get the recognition. Essentially, I want the chapter to get the recognition or the team to get the recognition. I think
The people's champ.
I'm all about the people, bro.
The people's champ, bro.
Dom kind of said it. I think something that I've worked on from getting out of school is I've always wanted it done my way, and I don't always think that's the best thing, and that's something that I've definitely helped grow in myself, especially now owning the company. There's a way that I see something getting done, but there's always that reminder in my head that says, hey, make sure you ask your team, how do you guys want it to get, how do you ladies and guys want to get it done? I think that's huge because you give them that self-empowerment. They feel like they're contributing to the team.
Hashtag leadership, my guy.
As a leadership school with Kamal.
Hey, but I think that's huge because something that I definitely learned as vice president, and that was the year right before I was president, that was a year that I learned so much because I always wanted it done my way, and everything, I always wanted to make sure that if it was going to get done, it was going to get done this way, and I didn't really care what everybody else had to say. That taught me a lot going into the next position, being able to see, okay, well, as a president, you need to listen to everybody. If you want to get the people's buy-in, you need to make sure you're getting everybody's contribution and allowing them to empower themselves in the decisions. So I think that's huge.
Yeah.
I have another question. So, I've heard this phrase a couple times before, and it's something I don't know. I've never been in this position, so I don't know. Like I can't answer this, but I've heard this quote is that when you own a business, you don't own the business owns you. I don't know if this is true. Like, okay, so someone who's now like you've been in this for like a couple years now, almost going on 2 years.
Yep.
What's the experience been like owning your own business? And like, would you say that quote is like something that you think is true, or do you think it's not true? Like, what do you think about that?
I think it definitely grows into that. Whether that's the best way to perceive it, I don't know if that's. I don't think that's the best way to perceive it. I think if the business owns you, it means that you're working 24/7. You're never. Essentially
Take a break, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Take a break.
So going back to what I was saying earlier, I do want to work on taking a break because, whereas it will always be my baby, it will always be something that I literally wake up 5 a.m. thinking about CP, thinking about what I'm going to do for that day, going to bed. Hey, what am I going to do tomorrow? What am I going to do the next day? But yeah, definitely it does own your life, but you do have to be able to shut that off and hang out with my family. I'm a huge family guy. Even though I don't live at home, I go home almost every weekend. I try to see them as much as I possibly can.
You big dog guy?
I love family. But I think and essentially that comes from, I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for family. I think that's something that a lot of people forget. They kind of take those things for granted, and something where just remembering that, I think that's very important. That's where you're coming from, and you wouldn't have these things if it wasn't for your ancestors, the people that essentially got you to where you're at today.
So speaking on family, did you let them know that you were like, hey, mom and dad, like I'm about to start my own business? And if you did, like, how did that conversation go? And did you get like 100% backing, or like was there pushback or anything? Like, because I know with families that aren't from the U.S., coming over here like, oh, like we put you to school and like we did all this and we want the stable, like stay in engineering. You know what I mean? Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. So what was that experience like for you?
Definitely. That was exactly what happened. My dad is very huge on safety, safe job. He's just very
elbow pads,
exactly, yeah. Put on the helmet. But yeah,
Hard hats, CollegePrints.
Hey.
He definitely, and even to this day, the times I joke around about doing my business full time, he's still just, I want you to make sure you're sure about it. It's going to be successful enough for you to be comfortable, and that's something that I think just as a dad, right, as a father, that he just doesn't want his.
They
his
have to be
son
worried about that.
Exactly. Yeah, they don't want their kids to struggle, and it's 100%. It makes sense, right? You have a steady job, a good career. Why would you leave that to go do something that's not making what you think it's going to make later on, right? But slowly over the years, I mean, in the beginning they thought it was a joke, right? Like custom shirts, what everybody does that.
Where's
right?
the market for that?
Like, exactly. Everybody, you could go get a custom shirt anyway. Why would you start? Why are you? And I hear that all the time too. Why are you different, right? But I think over the years they've seen the dedication, and I think that's probably one of the biggest things that my parents and even my sister has seen us. Just my mindset of being able to commit to something, think about it all the time, talk about how I want it to go somewhere, and just that's something that just essentially when I talk about it with them and they say that's amazing, how can we help you? What can we do? That's something that just kind of makes me feel good about it and essentially keeps me driving towards that right path. Would they want me to do my business full time? They would support me in anything I did.
Shout out to the family.
It would definitely be something that they would be a little scared of, and I would also be scared. I mean, it's definitely natural to.
It's a valid fear. You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
they have to be scared.
Yep. So
it's not like not being supportive, just like they don't want like anything bad. Like I wouldn't say it's not being supportive, just being that like what is it, the devil's advocate, just in case you know what you're doing. It's 2018. Are you a big goal setter? Like, what are some of your goals, like either for the company or for like personal goals, like for the new year?
As a human, you know?
Yeah. Kamal, the human being, not Kamal, the business owner. And both. I want to hear both.
Yeah.
So let's do business first, and then I'll go into
always
business
talking,
first.
always talking
Always
shop,
business,
bro.
bro.
Always business.
Talking shop. Goal-wise for the business is to definitely grow. We have campus ambassadors across the country. Those are our students responsible for essentially repping CollegePrints at their universities and bringing in bringing in custom orders, apparel orders, whether promotional items. Right now we have 15. I would love to grow that to 50 by the end of 2018.
Wow. Big goals, big teams,
Huge goals. Yeah. I think that would definitely put our name on the different campuses. Having our name on 50 different universities would be awesome.
Yeah.
I think we can do it. I definitely think we can do it. I mean, we got from at the start of 2017 we were at 2, and now we're at 15. So I think that's something that we can just continue. Now that we've got a bigger team, we can continue to grow it. We can also so from 2016 we were at a certain revenue. 2017 we grew that revenue by 300%.
Chill out, my guy.
2018
Drop a bomb right quick.
2018 and me and Kyle already called it. We're doubling it. So
big teams, big goals.
6.
Yes,
Tune for your head top.
that's Grizzy. That's my guy. I go to every one of his.
Bro, he's a
concerts.
big.
Yes,
He's
really?
bro, arguably one of the biggest Drake fans I've ever
Yes,
met, bro.
huge.
Toronto in the building.
Six. Okay, now the personal goals. Oh, well, sorry. Were you done
No,
with
you're
the?
good. Yeah, I mean, I set goals for the business every day, but those are the big ones. And just growing the team, not only by numbers, but just like I was mentioning earlier. I love to see people grow and move on and be able to follow their endeavors and essentially follow their goals. So. Personal goals, I would like to purchase a house by the end of 2018. I've been looking, man, but
Cop a crib one time.
You know, no big thing.
You know?
This market, man, this market's killing all these first-time home buyers.
Hey, man.
Yeah, so that's something that I definitely want to do by the end of this year.
That's a
And
big step, bro. I
That is a
actually
big
have
step.
not considered any of that. Like you buying a house and everything. Like
it's rough, man. You just think about it's not rent, but like you can't leave it. Like it's
Yeah,
there.
that's there for years. Like you're there.
30 years minimum. You got to pay it. So it's it's something that I definitely think being able to move up to that step, and then also to travel. I think working for the last year, and I pretty much graduated right out of graduation. I started working full time. So I definitely, I mentioned wanting to go to the Middle East. I want to go to Europe. Everybody talks amazing things about Europe.
Heard multiple things.
Yeah, so
Big
definitely
things.
taking time off to be able to travel is something huge, and just spend as much time as I can with my family. I think that's a big goal for me. People don't think about it, but family's only there for so long, and then once you gain your own family, you're not spending as much time with your immediate family anymore. So that's something that I definitely want to continue to do before starting up my own next steps later on in the next 5-10 years, whatever it may be. So
just getting into more of you as the human. Of
course.
Like with goal setting and stuff, are you like a competitive guy naturally? And
Sorry, I just know him. That's what
oh, okay, I was like, what's up with my question, bro? This is
no.
bad.
I was like, I didn't even mean to do that. My bad. This is naturally happened.
Like, and if you are, like, do you, like, for example, like other print shop or other places that do custom shirts, like, do you look at them and, like, do you try to, like,
Look at this, bro.
I can see it in
for
his
everyone
face,
listening
bro.
on audio, I wish you could see this face right now, bro. He's literally rubbing his hands
Yes.
together, licking his chops,
the Birdman
ready to answer
hand
this
rub.
shit, bro.
But, like, I do know that sometimes, like, if you're looking left and right, like, you can lose sight of your own vision and stuff. So how do you handle, I'm assuming you're competitive,
Yes,
like your competitive
definitely.
nature. How do you manage that within yourself? And how does that help you, like, set goals and stuff like that?
So to talk a little bit about being competitive, whenever we don't get an order, it eats me inside. Like, no one ever sees it, but it literally, the people on my team see it sometimes. But
He goes back in the office. Oh, come on.
I'm not a physical person, but it's definitely something that I like to win, and I don't even think it's called winning, but
Never
it's just being
lost.
yes,
Never lost.
If I could quote the great LeVar Ball, never lost.
yes, just being able to be able to bring in, and essentially it's more so the growth, right? Like, I want us
For
to
sure.
continue to grow. The more orders we get, the more we grow, and I think that's something more of what drives me to win. But how does it grow? The initial question was, how does it grow me as a person?
Like, how do you use that, or how do you use your competitiveness to, like, if that attributes to setting goals at all, like competitive with yourself, like competitive to your last year self, you know what I mean?
Gotcha. Yeah, so it's always I heard this actually on another podcast, but you always
We don't mention other
We don't.
podcasts.
No.
I'm just kidding.
Too
bro.
competitive. Too competitive for that.
But I think you always have to set 100% on top of what you realistically want to get, right? So if you want to get to $100,000 in revenue, you need to set it at $200,000 in revenue and hit that a little bit lower. And that's something that most people they've heard, but they don't usually do it, right? So I said we're gonna double it this year.
Yeah.
Do I think we're gonna double it? Yeah, of course. I'm gonna push to double it until December 31st, 2018. But if we hit 100, a little bit under that, I'm gonna be completely satisfied. You
And
know?
that doesn't knock your confidence at all. Like, if you fall short from your goals.
No, definitely
Right,
not.
right.
Yeah, yes, you set goals for a reason, but do you always have to hit those goals? I think you always overset goals.
Okay.
Yeah, you always have to overset goals.
For sure.
One of the things I want to talk about too is you talked about or like I see you on your Instagram and shit. Always,
I see
like,
you.
I'm at CollegePrints. I'm gonna do all this shit. Is motivation something that, like, do you ever, like, are not motivated? Like, is it something that comes naturally? Because I think, like, a lot of people, when they listen to stuff, like, let's say they aren't the most motivated person, like, talk about, like, your motivation personally, and then, like, if there is someone who's maybe not, like, that's something they struggle with, like, they wake up and they just don't have it that day or something like that. Is there anything you use to get you back in that, or is that ever an issue? Like, talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so there's definitely days. I mean, I don't think you're human if you wake up and there's some days where you're not motivated to essentially start the day. But I think you need to remember the bigger vision, the bigger picture. Am I always 100% motivated? I would like to say yes, but I mean, I was just talking to one of my coworkers earlier today about this weekend, literally trying to start to work, and every time I would try to start, I was like, nah, this is the weekend. I need to relax a little bit.
It's MLK weekend, bro. I got
exactly.
3 days.
Yeah.
So there's definitely those days where, I mean, like I said, I don't think you're human if there's not the day where you wake up and you're like, today I want to sleep for another hour. I want to sleep for another hour and a half or so. But
Do you give into those things? Like, if you wake up, or, like, it depends on the day, I'm assuming, right?
correct, yeah. I wouldn't say I give in to them. I beat myself up if I do a little bit, but I try to essentially make up for it at the end of the day, right? Like if I sleep for another hour, I'll work for another hour at the end of the day. Of course. But definitely something that I think for people that are not always motivated, I think it's huge to just remember the bigger picture. I think everybody gets so focused in, and I know I've said this a few times, but they get so focused in on, I need to get this done. Yeah, I need to finish this specific task, but just step back a little bit and say, okay, why am I doing this task? I know I need to get it done by tomorrow. I need to get it done by the end of the week, but why am I doing it? And you remember, okay, I'm doing it because I need this person to succeed in this, and I need this person to finish this. Then you kind of say, okay, I'm finishing it. I'm going to move a couple things around. I'm going to take a quick 10-minute power nap and get right back at it, you know?
I think that's a good way to look at things. Like if you lose the motivation ever, like think about the bigger picture. Like what am I doing this for? Like, oh, we need to grow this. Like this has to get done.
Of course.
And I think that's a really good tool for yourself to keep you going and keep you going throughout your day.
100.
I think once you're in that position too, it's like almost I like it almost more when you're in the type of position you are, where it's like if you don't do it, then it actually won't get done. And I think that's the biggest motivation. Like, bro, if I don't do this, then like who's gonna do it? Yeah, you know what I mean? So is that a big motivation too? It's like if I don't do this, then literally there's all these people depending on me to get this done.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you got it. Like as simple as today, I was talking about payroll. If I don't do payroll,
they're not going to get paid.
No one's going to get paid. You know? Like as simple as that.
It's I mean, you definitely have people that are counting on you to do your job, and I think just having that remembrance, especially for them, they need to remember like they need to get their job done, and the other people need to get theirs done. So
kind of the flip side of that is, what would you say is the most difficult part of owning your own business? Like what's something you've experienced where it's like, obviously like there's nothing too big or too small that you haven't overcome, but like what is like the biggest obstacle you've seen so far in this?
So I think obviously the knowledge part of it, everybody says like you can read all these books and understand how to start a business, but until you sit down and actually hire an employee, do all the paperwork to hire an employee, until you sit down and you file your limited liability corporation, like until you sit down and actually do all those things.
LLC.
Yes, everybody thinks, oh, it's hard, but you can read a book and you figure out how to do it. It's literally sitting down. I feel like being able to just experience sitting down and writing those things down, signing that paperwork, going to sit down with a lawyer and not even know that if you do something like this is what's going to get you in trouble. Like those are things that you just have to gain over experience, I think. The other difficulties I would say are definitely, I'm a very detail-oriented person. So the way things are, just even in my bedroom, right? Like the way I put my clothes down.
That was
why, Dom, why you gotta switch it up?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm talking about the way I fold my clothes in my bedroom.
I didn't even say, I just laughed, bro. He's already taking it there, dog.
So the way I organize things in my bedroom, the way I put whatever it may be, my papers on my desk or whatever it may be, I'm very detail oriented. And it even comes down to the way when I'm training my employees, hey, this is how you have to write an email. You need to make sure you're proper, and this isn't a text message, right? Like you're sending it to a client.
Are you okay?
Yeah, exactly. So you have, and those little things in the beginning, oh my gosh, like if I saw somebody send an incorrect email with spelling "you're" the wrong way, like I'd go crazy. You know? Yeah. So I think that's something that is still, for me, I need to remember that people are still growing, and I need to continue to remind myself, okay, yeah, they may have messed up a couple times. Let's remind them, make sure they get back on track. So I would say that's something that is definitely difficult about owning a business, because essentially it's going to come back to the business name, right?
Yeah.
And realistically, the owner is the person that has the business name. The employees, yeah, they work for them, but it's almost like it's you when somebody says, hey, CollegePrints messed up on this. It's not the employee messed up.
They're looking at you.
Exactly.
It's almost like the coach. The coach is going to get the axe first.
Yeah.
Luke
Exactly.
Walton's going down, bro.
Yes.
Hey, if Lonzo's not performing, he's not leaving, bro. Luke's going down. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, definitely.
Starting a business and like the LLC and like sitting down with lawyers and stuff like that. Were you ever like was fear a part of that? Were you ever afraid to like take that step or to sign that contract, you know, and like arming yourself with that knowledge? Like I have to know this. Was it ever like coming from a place of like I'm scared that I don't want to mess this up, you know?
Yeah, in the beginning, definitely. I think being able to essentially just comprehend it, right? So, I mean, you can read a contract 100 times and think you understand it.
Yeah.
You read it 101 times, and there's something that just popped up. That,
you'll catch
you
up.
didn't realize you read the previous time. So, I think that comes with definitely building confidence within your company, right? So, you need to make sure in the beginning, the first LLC paperwork I signed, I was like, do I really want to do this? Do I really want to pay these fees? Am I sure that the company's going to make enough money to support
this?
these
Yeah,
fees?
that's got to be a scary feeling.
Exactly, yeah.
That's scary, bro.
So, I mean, just as simple as like signing a lease, right? When you get a building and you've got to pay a lease for a year, 3 years, 5 years, whatever it may be, you don't know if your business is going to last 3 years, 5 years. I mean, it's something that, it's definitely a fear, but you come with it, and you've got to build essentially your confidence in your own business and be able to build up to that.
Yeah.
So.
One thing you touched on a little bit, and it's kind of an interesting thing because like what you said, like you being very detail oriented, as a company grows and as it gets bigger and expands, like that's going to cause you to have to let go of more control into different people and like release like kind of like if when it's smaller now, you're able to have your hand in a little bit of everything, have your hand in a pot.
Exactly.
As the company grows, is that something that you're kind of afraid of, or is that like a big hurdle of letting go control and giving it and like trusting other people to like run with it? Not run with it, but you know what I mean, carry on bigger roles?
Yeah, exactly. Be able to make decisions for the company. I think that's something that I've slowly had to start doing now. I mean, in the beginning, I wanted my employees to run every single design by me, every single quote by me, every single price by me. Anything that happened on today's day, I needed to know about,
You
right?
should know about what's going on.
But, I mean, it's gotten to the point now where I've got to trust my designers. They've been doing it long enough where they know what the client's going to like. And if they send something out that's wrong, they're going to learn because the client's going to say, hey, I don't like this design. I don't like that. So, yeah, it's tough to be able to trust. I mean, like they send out a quote, oh, we send it out for $12 a t-shirt. Why'd you send it out for $12 a t-shirt? Like it should have been 13. It should have been. So that's something that, you've got to kind of just take with a grain of salt and just say, hey, let's keep moving. So.
One more question. I know a big thing, like I don't know if this is a big thing for you, but a lot of people talk about they wouldn't be here without role models or mentors. So like I know you talked about your dad as like a role model or mentor, but is there anyone like as you started up this company or started wanting to do this as like a career, was there anyone that you looked up to as a role model or mentor, and like what were some of the things that they helped you out with?
Yeah, so I've had this question before, and I think the biggest it is my father, it is my family, and I think I don't when I think mentor, I know a lot of people always think person, right?
Yeah.
I for me it's more like I think goal. I think more of what goals do I want to look up to and be able to essentially achieve, and what people do I want to make happy? What people do I want them to feel like they're comfortable? And whether it's my dad or just my family in general, those are my huge, I would call them mentors, quote unquote, right? A business owner in general, I mean, everybody has their own way of owning a business. I just, like I said, I think having somebody that I've seen struggle at the lowest points of businesses and then also succeed at the highest points of businesses, that's something that I will always look up to. As an individual, there are definitely people, one person in the fraternity, Paul Nava. He's huge.
Shout out, Paul.
Yes. He's actually my
Paul, you better be listening to this, bro. I'm gonna be hot.
He's actually my roommate right now. He's somebody that when I joined the fraternity, he was in the fraternity, and we never were really close in the first few years, but we ended up growing pretty close as the years went on. And he was actually the person. I started off as a civil engineer at Cal Poly and ended up switching to industrial because of some of the things that he had showed me about the career. And I think I've definitely looked up to him, taken his advice on quite a bit of things. Not necessarily just for the business, but just life experiences in general. Yeah. He's definitely given me a lot of advice on how to move up. So if it was coming from somebody my age, I would definitely say somebody like him.
He's still trash at 2K though. I hope he bro, I will give him the hands at 2K every night, son. So hey, shout out Paul.
Yeah.
You have anything else? I think we're
I just want to dive into some like lighter questions if you're down. If you're down.
Yes.
Let's do it. Let's get into this.
All
bro.
right, man. Starting off, what's your I don't drink, right? But what's your go-to drink if you go out and like at a bar or
out
whatever?
on the town?
You know
what I
what?
mean?
What's your go-to?
So Chris Lee one of our good friends.
He's a
just
shooter.
introduced
Shout out
me.
to Chris, man.
Hey, man,
Yes, he
he,
is a
he's got a
shooter.
shot,
Yes,
bro.
he's
This
got
fool
a-
is like wet.
Yes.
This fool is like perfect form. All right,
really?
anyway, yeah. He's a shooter.
He introduced me to this Hendrix gin and tonic with cucumber
Don't
water.
fucking talk to me
Bro.
about. Don't come on my podcast and come here talking about another gin that's not Bombay, bro. And
I know
Come
you're a
on,
huge
dog.
Bombay fan, but dude, if you try this Hendrix, I'm telling you, I've never been a gin person, and I tried this drink, and with the cucumbers, it turns your life around, man. I'm telling you.
I'm not taking this full serious anymore.
I've drank gin before, or I don't know if the past tense is drunk. I've drank it.
Yeah.
That's just not good, bro. I think that's just like garbage,
Bro, you can taste all the flavors. You know what I'm
All
saying?
the
You can taste
herbs.
all the flavors.
all the botanicals.
Bombay's all right. It's cool.
Sorry, Dom.
Yeah, but my other go-to drink before I got into gin is Black Label. I love whiskey. Black
Oh, I heard
Label's
about this.
Yeah,
I heard
that's-
about this.
I drink that on the rocks. It's nice.
He drinks this shit like warm.
Yeah.
When I saw it, he had a bottle of this. How you want some? I was like, all right. And it was like just the bottle. I was like,
you can't mix it
all
with
right.
That's a grown man thing.
I know,
Drinking
bro.
it straight, bro.
She
Sipping,
puts the hair on your
sipping.
chest, dog.
Hey, bro.
What's a song you listen to that you wouldn't want other people to know? You know what I mean?
Like your
your
guilty pleasure song.
I really like when I want to get like in the mood.
What kind of mood we talking about, dog?
slow-
We need a record scratch.
I know.
A record scratch.
What?
Yes. Slow motion is a good one.
Yo,
Yes.
that's the Trey Songz one. Wait, the
Yes.
Trey Songz or the Juvenile?
No,
the
the Trey Songz, the remix.
slow
Yeah,
motion. That shit's hard.
That
Yo,
one gets me in it. Yeah, that one's nice. But would I bang that at a party? Probably not. I mean, it just
You
depends
never
on the
know,
mood.
man.
Yeah, it depends
You
on the
never
mood.
know.
of the
people
party.
don't know, bro.
Yes.
Kamal's a DJ, dog.
Oh, no.
That was the
We're not
original
getting
business, dog. He was trying to pop off as a DJ.
College DJ.
Dog,
College
he
DJ.
was- Come on. You still DJ or nah? You put in
haven't.
the past?
Yeah, I put that in the past. You know, that was one of the things that was one of my side hustles when I was in school. But yeah,
He was, bro. No lie, he
Nice.
was low key pretty nice. So he was low key. I'm not a DJ, so I don't know like the transitions or whatever. But if you a DJ, you play bangers.
Yeah.
All right, it's cool.
It was fun, man. It was a good experience. I started in high school. I thought it was something that I was gonna stick with, but it was a cool side hustle. And
Yeah.
Look
it
at
was-
what he
it
talks
was
about.
fun.
Such an
Side
adult
note.
now. He was into it, bro. He used to be into that shit.
Yeah, shout out to DJ Campbell.
Hey, I was about to say
Hey.
DJ Campbell in the building.
I'm good, bro. You good?
I think I'm good, bro. Is there anything else you want to
Anything you want to plug? College Prints, follow him on
I know,
Instagram.
hey, follow him on
What's the
Instagram.
Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that?
Yes, at CollegePrints for the Instagram, Twitter at college_prints.
It's tough
yes.
getting the uniform branding.
Yeah,
man.
I know it's tough, man.
bro.
All these people that just make an account and then have one follower, like what?
Get off.
Don't worry, bro.
delete it.
We're pure X pressure,
Pure
bro. So
X,
we
you know,
feel that.
that's
We
all right.
feel that 100%.
That's all right.
It's rough, but no, I appreciate y'all having me on this. I think I was even telling you guys before this. I think this is something where you all can reach out to an audience that is not aware of podcasts. I think podcast is something that hits people after college. I don't think it's really in college right now.
Yeah.
You all, I've listened to quite a few of y'all's, and they're really
Gang,
good.
gang,
Yes,
rep it.
yeah.
Gang, gang.
They you guys can kill it. Keep doing what you guys are doing, and I think it'll take off.
Peer pressure.
Yes.
Thank you, bro.
Appreciate it,
We
bro.
appreciate it, man. Thank you for
Appreciate
being
it.
on the
Of
show.
course.
Yeah, man.
Looking forward to having you on again in
Thank
the
you, bro.
future.
Sorry, my hands are sweaty. I'm sorry.
Bro,
My
this
fault.
fool got the sweatiest hands of
fault,
all
bro.
time. All right, we out of this bitch.
Thanks again, man.
Peer pressure. Pressure. Peer pressure.